So we're live. Apparently we are live. And thank you very much, Rufi Thorpe, for joining us on your pub day. This is Robin I'm still Robin, reading with Robin on behalf of A Mighty Blaze. Pub day continues. The knockout queen is here, Rufi Thorpe. You want to hope, let's both hope. We already did this for Jenna, but yours is the finished copy.
Oh yeah.
Mine is the early copy.
Heft.
Yeah, the knockout queen would have heft. And it has the most amazing blurborama on the back. When I get a book like this and I'm like, oh, Cynthia Sweeney, Chloe Benjamin, Kevin Wilson, Eden Lepake, Jade Chang, Rachel Kall, I mean, everybody is on this book. Was there anybody who said, no, thank you, we will not blurb the knockout queen? I'm kidding, don't say.
Well, no, I mean, my secret is to write like balls out insane letters where I just like tell the person everything that I admire about their work, and like just like the more vulnerable and inappropriate the better, I think. And they're like, who's this nut job? Like, I'll say anything to get her to stop writing me these letters. So.
Oh, they must be. I mean, just because from reading The Knockout Queen and knowing your writing, I can only imagine these letters. And I see a lot of West Coasters here too. I love all of these authors, but let me give you a proper Mighty Blaze welcome. Rufi Thorpe received her MFA from the University of Virginia in 2009. She's the author of Dear Fang with Love and The Girls from Corona Del Mar, which was longlisted for the 2014 International Dylan Thomas Prize and for the 2014 Flaherty Dunnan First Novel Prize. A native of California, she currently lives in Los Angeles with her husband and sons. This is her third novel. The Knockout Queen is out today. Happy Pub Day. I feel like I should sing a happy pub day to you.
Thank you.
Away. You're welcome. Check out rufithorpe.com, and you can find her on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, right? I guess everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Facebook and I think it cross-posts with my Instagram, so it's somewhat active, but I'm really more on Instagram, and I've been doing these really fun Instagram takeovers too. Yeah, so if you want to.
Yeah, that's fun. How does that, I mean, well, I love today's post about not wearing a bra on radio. Is that what you're doing? Because that is the best part about radio, or keeping your camera like at a certain angle. So you can be cozy while you're in home confinement.
Well, I am wearing stretch pants, but my shoes match the stretch pants. So you should feel
those are awesome shoes.
Thank you.
You need to celebrate Pub Day. It's a very big day, and whatever makes you feel even more spectacular, those are really great shoes. Those look like dancing shoes.
Yes, I got lucky. I found them at a consignment store, and I was like, oh yes, please, pink satin shoes, like sign me up.
I love it. So what are you doing for takeovers, and how does that work, and how much time does it take?
Well, so I've been doing like a group of awesome ladies called the Spotlight 6. And so for the 6 days up to Pub Day, I've been taking over a different account every day. And so I try and do something like, basically you can ask me questions and then I take over their account and I look at all the questions and I answer whatever you ask. But I also try and put like some fun. So like one of them was about Bunny Lampert. My character is, 6'3" and incredibly strong. And she's sort of this fantasy of physical power. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking about why I wrote it that way. And I'm on my husband's shoulders as he's squatting me up and down. So like cool. We've been making like TikToks with the kids, like silly ones, and just try and make it fun.
People really connect with that. It gives another side to an author's personality, and you're like, wow, that person is so much fun. I wonder what the Knockout Queen must be like if she's that much fun doing what. And it's hard, like you've written the book, you do all of this work, and then keep getting more and more creative to to bring more content out there. So I always appreciate a really clever Instagram account, because it is a lot of work. People can make it look effortless, but coming up with ideas of ways to engage with the audience. And what are some of the questions people ask you when it's an Ask Me Anything?
Well, some of the people have read the book already, which is kind of amazing, and are asking like questions about the characters and what do I think happens to them later. And A lot of questions about like, you know, what does a day writing look like, or how did you come up with this idea? Like, where did it come from, the inspiration for this book? I think that it's not really the kind, self-promotion is not something most writers are good at. And I am also incredibly socially anxious. I mean, like a cocktail party makes me anxious. But a weird thing about this time is that in the quarantine, like, you know, I've been locked in with my immediate family for like 4 or 5 weeks now. So I've gotten just real weird, and I no longer have any filters. And so it's now like the very weird version of me that is doing all these interviews and everything. And so I think it is like, it's involuntarily unfiltered at this point.
I love that. I think that, and we've been talking a lot today about authenticity, and that is what readers and people that connect to that, because at the essence of who we are, you know, that's what comes through in the writing. And that's what, you know, maybe when you're writing fiction, it's like who you really are sort of is in there somewhere, and it's a way to branch out. But being quarantined or stay in place or whatever we are, can't move, can't leave, can't get away from anybody, it does, how could it not bring out certain things? But do you feel like comfortable in that? Is it kind of almost like, what the hell?
Well, it's sometimes I have to just like pretend that it's not really happening. Like if I really thought about it and was like, oh my gosh, this just went to someone's 25,000 followers or something, I would become so anxious about it. So I kind of just have to not think about it and just do it, I think. And it's also, I feel like as a culture, we've gotten so much more used to this fleeting content, and like this, you know, someone can do or say something incredibly stupid and there's like a record, and we're all like, yes, they did something very stupid. And then it kind of, the next thing happens the next day, and it's moving so fast. And
yeah, there's just another, you can always be sure of one thing. There will be another stupid thing coming down the road in any second. How old are your children?
Almost 5 and almost 8.
So that must be super fun. How are they doing?
Well, I mean, actually it is. I feel like I got really lucky. Like all my friends with littler kids, like having an 18-month-old like stuck in a house and you can't go to the park, or you can't, I mean, that's hard.
That's true. Yours are at a good age though. That's true.
They are. And we've gotten all sorts of weird, I mean, luckily we have a yard, and grandma had gotten them a trampoline for Christmas. And so that has been the lifesaver, because whenever anyone gets like frustrated or just has been inside for too long, we're like, go jump it out.
Be like, don't jump carefully, because nobody can get hurt.
Oh, exactly. We yell at them all the time.
Jump like this much, but go have a good time, kids. Just like, but yeah, it is a really bizarre time, and it has been a very long lockdown so far. And I know California was earlier than a lot. I think as went Rhode Island, I was more in step with California, because I just decided they know stuff out there. Everything's there first, so let's just do what they're doing. But yeah, it has been a long time, and you can almost really just not think about it too much. And also, you get to celebrate the Knockout Queen all over the place. And, you know, talk about Bunny and her neighbor, Michael. Set it up a little bit for us. It's what actually, this book also falls into my favorite 3 categories: funny, smart, full of heart. That's my real new tagline. Just well-drawn characters, interesting situations, and authentic self, you know, and you're just, you know, funny, and dark, a little dark humor, which that's my favorite kind. So yeah, talk about Bunny and Michael and their relationship. And, you know, no spoilers, people, don't worry.
I know this novel is really kind of hard to pitch, because the very first big plot event is a spoiler. Yeah. So instead, you kind of have to focus on the characters. And it's about a friendship between a girl, Bunny Lampert, who is 6'3", 200 pounds at the end of high school, a star volleyball player, and her dad is like the big real estate agent in town. And her next door neighbor, Michael, who becomes her best friend. And he's moved to the town he's moved in with his aunt after his mom is sent to prison for stabbing his dad. And he is a really brilliant straight A student, works at Rite Aid after school, and has a secret Grindr account, and is definitely positive that he's gay, not entirely positive about how to come out or what that would mean for him socially, or just how to inhabit himself fully. And both of them they are sort of like the people that they can be themselves around. You know, as much as Michael is not sure how to present himself and his masculinity in public, Bunny feels like she's failing at being a girl and being like a flirty high school girl in the way that she thinks she's supposed to be all the time. So around each other, they can be themselves.
Kind of like being in Stay at Home. The true self kind of comes out. And I was thinking about that. I'm thinking a lot about the books that are coming out now and where they're particularly tied to what's happening at the moment, where it wouldn't have been a thought or it wouldn't have been a connection or a leap that we might have made previously. But it's hard to not see things in the lens, you know, through the lens of now.
Oh, they would love to be quarantined together. They would have a ball.
They,
like
and that's
eating raw muffin mix and watching RuPaul's Drag Race and like having tickle fights and playing in the pool. I mean, that's all.
Has anybody asked you that with the Instagram takeover? Like if Bunny and Michael were quarantined together or staying home in place, whatever we're calling it, it's quarantine. I mean, they can call it whatever they want. We can't leave. You know, that's the thing. So, you know, it is interesting to think about the characters in books and how they would react to this particular moment in time. And just what you were saying earlier about things that come out after you're sort of in lockdown. So I think that that's really an interesting thing. And visit rufithorpe.com. It's pub day, and Rufi, so you're doing Instagram takeovers and other on. I like the way you shake the book. I like that. It's almost like
well, yeah, no. So I have an Instagram takeover down to get the fiction on. And then right after at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, I have an Instagram live with my editor on Knopf's account. And so I'm really excited about that because she is just a doll and I'm excited.
Well, and you know what, as long as you bring up your editor, talk about what that is like working together, how much changes in the back and forth and the trust between an author and an editor.
Well, I am in a really rare and lucky group where I've gotten to have the same editor for all 3 of my books. And so by this point, she knows me as a person and as a mom and as an artist. And I have so much like faith and trust in her. And it's a weird thing because it's this very intimate, casual relationship because you have to work with each other daily. But then when you submit and you work, it's like kind of formal and you're not really allowed to talk to each other. And what if she didn't want to buy it? You know, like what if she read it and she was like, I don't like this. And so the very first time that we like got to talk to each other after like the formalities, she was like, I had a massive poster of RuPaul in my bedroom when I was a teenage girl. And I can't tell you how much he meant to me. And we were just sort of talking because I think for like a lot of teenage girls, drag queens are this way that we see like femininity being viewed as powerful and desirable and something people want to emulate, but also deconstructed and taken apart and put back together in interesting ways. And we're trying to figure out how to project the same kind of like, you know, grace and eloquence and poise and how to be funny and all those things. And so I think that there's a lot of teenage girls that really loved that show. And so that was fun finding out that we had both been those girls.
Isn't that cool though, when it's a part of a book where, and like you say, because an editor has gotten 2 books doesn't mean necessarily the 3rd or the 2nd or 4th. So that must be really, you know, tense. You've already had this relationship, you've done a few books. So as a reader, and I've spoken to authors who have said that this book or that book wasn't taken, and I'm like, really, why not? I don't understand. You've done all these books, but you know, who knows? So to connect with some part of it, because you know, that's one of the most fun things about fiction are the ancillary parts of a story or references that are so meaningful to the book, but also to the reader. So when somebody catches on, like I can imagine when your editor saw that, she must have been like, oh my goodness, you know, so that's a really cool tidbit. And so that's today at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Yeah.
Yep.
On Instagram. So that's Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah.
On Knopf. And where did the story start for you? Was it more story, characters? What came to you first?
Okay, so I had written a novel about Bunny Lampert 10 years ago that was really a collection of interconnected short stories in which she was a peripheral character. So it was sort of this negative space portrait where we see glimpses of her at different ages and different points in her life. And that character, I mean, none of the plot of the current book was actually part of the plot of that one. But she was kicking around in the back of my mind and was based very much, I had been like, when I was, I don't know, like 18, 19 years old, I remember being at a party in Brooklyn, and there was this female boxer there who was, I mean, maybe it was traumatic brain injury, maybe it was drugs, but she was not tracking where she was or what was happening. And she had this little like tender guy, her like boyfriend / caretaker kind of. And I found her so haunting. I never ever saw her again. I don't even think we had a conversation. Wow. So it's in no way a portrait of this specific woman, but the idea of her I found so haunting that, I mean, obviously I've been thinking about her for decades now. And so
to have somebody in your mind that you may or may not even had a conversation with, but that the idea of being haunted by something, or something keeping I love that.
And so then when we were moving to El Segundo, there's one realtor who represents like so many of the houses in town. It seems like his name is on every single house. And I just thought, I wonder what it's like to be that man's daughter. Like, I wonder what it's like to grow up in a small town and have your dad be this overwhelming symbol of wealth and like community power. And so then I thought, well, what if I just combined them? And that's basically where the idea of Bunny came from, was situating her in this town with this incredibly powerful father. And then I was trying to write the book like that for like a year, but Bunny just did not have the ability to tell her own story well. She couldn't see, tragedy when it's happening to you is only painful. It's not, you can't see it.
Reflection. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And so I knew I needed like a focalizer character, kind of the way that like in Sophie's Choice or The Great Gatsby, like there's a whole class of novels that's sort of about a larger than life character being told by a narrator who's more part of our world, like the real world. And so I knew that that's kind of how I wanted to do it. And then Michael sort of just came with that backstory and with that voice, and writing him is the most fun that I've ever had, because he's so much meaner than I usually let myself be. And so it's a pure delight.
Mean, but full of heart, heartfelt meanness, and
yeah.
A backstory to where that comes from, which gives the character sympathy and also charm. And I love that, the way you're telling the story and then what you need to happen and who you need to bring in. And I see you sitting in front of I can't help but look, I'm like talking to you, Rufi, but I'm also like, what books are behind?
What books are on there?
It is, sometimes this is one of these games I've been playing in quarantine, like what book is behind the author? And, what can I see? And sometimes I will not guess, but there are some spines that look a little familiar. What are some of your favorites that are in there? And also, what are you looking forward to reading? And are you doing much reading at this time?
Well, so, I mean, there's a million things. The book that's coming out that I'm excited about, that's coming out this summer, is...
I have it right there. I like Person.
Is Want.
Ooh,
I was hoping we might get to talk about it because it's an extraordinary book. It's Want by Lynn Strong. And it's just extraordinary. It's like this very slender book, and it feels like if someone was like drunk at a party and then just confessed their whole life to you, like so intimately and searingly, and telling the truth in a way that you're not usually allowed to. Like, so much of the suspense of the book is because you're like, oh my God, she's gonna say it. She's gonna like say the thing now.
Wow. Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
It's kind of unlike anything that I've read recently.
Oh, I love that.
So that's exciting. That's coming out in July.
Sold.
Yeah. So then in terms of, I've been reading for the next thing that I want to write, and the reading for it has been just so much fun because I'm trying to, so it's involved reading about the future of weapons development and like the technology of war.
I want to see, is there puppy there?
Oh, yes, it is. Hey, Layla, come here.
Layla.
Layla, come here.
Aww.
She's ancient and like, come here. Come here, girl. She's like, am I bad? Did I do something?
No, I just heard her. I figured it sounded like she wanted to join us, so I figured.
Oh, she definitely does.
Huh?
Oh, poor girl.
Oh,
There she is.
Oh, is she an Aussie?
Yes, she is. And she's like almost 15, I think.
What a beauty. Oh, Layla. I just figured if she was like calling to you, then she should join the party.
She was, well, she didn't know what I was doing. And so she was just sitting over there licking her paws like, is everything okay? You're being unusually intense over there.
I know it is. You do wonder what they're thinking because you're talking to something. There's not a person there and they're thinking something. So
they're like, she lost it.
Pardon?
You know, she's lost it. She's just talking to herself in the living room now.
Oh, sweetie. She's so fluffy.
She is. She needs a shave for the
Thank you
for the summer.
Yeah, well, I mean, we gave our pup a bath the other night and it was just like all over the place. Like you need a little trim too, but I'm not touching anything yet.
We hacked at her a little bit with scissors, me and the kids, but it's always a little scary because I don't really trust them not to hurt her.
Yeah, I know it's a tricky thing. I forget who I was doing an interview with and the kids were outside trimming the dog. Now I'll have to think of it. And it was really, I thought that was really brave. I think it was Jackie Friedland. I think it was Jackie's kids were outside doing something with the dog. And I was like, do you want to go check? That's who it was. Talking about the reading that you're doing, and then I interrupted to see Layla, but the reading you're doing for the new book.
Oh, yeah. So I'm reading all over the place. I've been reading, there's this crazy book about human sacrifice called The Highest Altar. So I've been reading all sorts of weird stuff, and it's been just a fun. Our book collection, though, so my husband is a neuroscientist and like a math guy. Wow. So a lot of the books are incomprehensible to me. And sometimes I like try and open them and I'm like, I believe that I can understand this. And then I'm like, wow, like, how do you picture like a 6-dimensional shape? Like I can't even, like my brain is melting. So
it's funny how different, you know, the different sides of the brain work and where you know, that you're so creative. And then that's, I mean, it sounds like the perfect match, actually.
It is lovely in many ways. And I think that we appreciate each other because we're good at different things. And it's going to be interesting to see what our kids are like, kind of. It's fun watching their little personalities and brains develop. Right.
Who got what and where, you know, how it's similar but so different. And you always sort of look at your kids and think, I mean, I know I do, like, oh, that's so familiar, that's so familiar. And they're their own people as well. And some, you know, some of it comes from who knows where or their own development, but some things are so easy to pinpoint. And those, those can be the difficult things to see sometimes too. And I'm chatting with Rufi Thorpe and we're talking about The Knockout Queen, and it's out today. It's pub day. And it's, what is your favorite local indie, or where do you have signed copies somewhere?
Yes. Well, so my local indie is called Pages, a bookstore. And they also have a deal. And I think if they run out of them, then I will just give them more. But if you order it from there, they have free shipping and you will get a signed book plate from me and an enamel bunny pin that I had specially made for the book that is like a little white bunny with a pink banner that says murderer on it.
Oh, I have to have that. I have to, I'm going to have to, okay.
Oh, I'll send you one. Just send me your address and I'll send it to you.
Oh my God, an enamel bunny pin that says murder. My daughter will take it. She's already
I'll send you two.
No.
Well, because part of the reason that I named her, have you ever seen these? You see them online from time to time, but they're these drawings that medieval monks would do in manuscript edges of these murderous rabbits.
Yes. Well, there's, right, wasn't it the, which video is it with the murderous bunnies? Never mind. You keep talking. I'll think.
Well, there's the whole scene in Monty Python. I don't know if that's what you're thinking of, but I think.
Yeah.
Well, so like the whole idea behind these, the medieval monks were just like bored and amusing themselves in the margins. And the idea was that bunnies represented, you know, everything peaceful and gentle, but also feminine. So some of these bunnies have like big old bazongas. And then they're like murdering people and cutting their heads off. And I mean, it's just wild. So it's sort of this like world upside down. What if bunnies were wildly violent? And so that's another part of where I saw the character coming from, kind of.
So funny. So it's not all Easter eggs and fluffy baskets and Peter Rabbit. I think it's Keen. I think the song is by Keen. And I'm visualizing the, somebody will know. If we could see the Facebook Live, somebody would be telling me. I can hear the song in my head, but I will not hum it for you because you will never recognize it. But there are scary bunnies in it. That's probably where it comes from. So Bunny Lampert and the Knockout Queen, and do not miss this book. Happy Pub Day to you, Rufi.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And check out Page's Bookstore, and you get a copy of the book, a signed book plate, and an enamel bunny pin with murder. That's a deal. Enjoy the rest of your pub day, and thank you for showing us Layla also. That was very
special. Thank you so much. It's been fun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Please, we're signing off on Pub Day. Thank you, and thank you, Jenna, for taking care of us.
Thank you.
I think we're still live.
Okay. Well, do I leave?
You're not still alive. You are not still alive. You can go get a big old drink now if you want one. We got kicked off 5 times, and I put us back on 5 times. So I'm gonna render the whole video and post the whole thing, so it's not like that. Like people kept hopping on and off, and I got Pages and the Murder Bunny Eyes and Layla.
I know. Do you know the Keen song? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but I'm gonna have to look it up right now.
I hope I'm right. Keana.